fuck it. I have scripted this. I have tried doing it, redoing it to the camera. I'm really not very experienced yet at this whole camera thing, and I'm just not content with the way it's showing up. So I just really want to get this out of my chest and try to say it and blur it out to the camera if necessary. I just want to just say it, right? The world isn't built for fat people. It's not built for you, and it's not built for me. And I've discovered this since I was 5, because I was really always the fat kid. I was just always this fat dude, and I know most of you can relate with that. Just people tend to treat you differently, right? And there's this whole thing about being fat that comes with the social stigma. And people will just literally, even when you're very, very young, they would just literally sit on another place in the bus and just try to move away from you. People would not smile when you come into a room. Most fit people do kind of enjoy that, right? You know, they have like this baseline of respect. Normally here, if you're a fat dude, you have to just earn it, right? But if you're not, if you're a thin, fit person, while social skills do help, of course, and are necessary, they have like this baseline of respect. It's just incredible. And you see that being fat constantly got me into problems, right? I was bullied constantly at school since I can remember, since my memory, since I have any memory at all. And it was always because I was the fat dude. Of course, I didn't have the greatest social skills at the time, but I never had the chance to actually get those skills because nobody wanted to socialize with the fat dude in the first place. So I could never develop those. And as I grew older, I saw like how being fat constantly affected your life, right? And for example, if you're fat, you can even get less work. There's studies that show that you will have more chances of entering a job if you're a thin candidate or a fit candidate than if you're a fat dude. It even affects your job opportunities. It affects how people approach you. It affects what impressions they have of you, what they think of you, what they perceive you or associate you with. And it's this constant thing that's always just there, right? And it's super associated with depression, with anxiety. It's terrible, man. It's just terrible. I got so much of this that I felt like shit all the time. It's just terrible. And as I grew older, things just gotten worse and worse. And you saw how people started to favor thinner and fitter people, not only just in normal social relationships, but also in love, right? Back then, I needed to have much more social skill than just another fit dude just to try to get in contact or to get into a relationship with a woman, right? And that's messed up. People were superficial all the time. They looked at you, they called me names, they mocked me. I remember a time they literally chased me down to school and literally pinned me down the ground and started kicking me in the face. It's insane. It's just insane. I just can't believe how people allow this constantly to happen, and people just start to get complacent with it, and bullying becomes a thing, a normal thing, a constant thing all the time. And you can't get out of it. You start trying out diets. My whole family was fat, and I had the same story as many people, right? As many fat people. We have bad genetics. Our metabolism just isn't that high. We see people just engulfing shit while they call us lazy. And I never could lower down that weight. I was constantly misinformed. I was trying this new diet, this fat diet, this whatever the fuck diet. And everyone just constantly put you down. Nothing worked. You were trapped. You were trapped in this curse of fatness. This curse of fatness caused by genetics, by society, and how everyone perceived it badly, and it's just insane. But then I had a realization, and that was like the greatest epiphany of my entire life. And it changed the way I thought. For the longest time, I thought I was trapped, and many people still think they are. We are, in fact, kind of trapped. I would always remember this statistic I read once, and that it still seems to hold true to today, that 95% of people who lose any sort of weight regain it in 2 years. 95%. That means you're literally trapped. There's this super duper slim chance of having any goal to change that. So the discrimination just ramped up constantly. It was terrible. And at that moment, another person just told me, Daniel, well, if you're fat, that's because you just eat too much. And of course I kind of knew that, but actually thinking about it was one of the greatest things that could have happened to me, because I started thinking about it, and he told me, well, Daniel, just fat doesn't come from the cosmos. And he's right. I realized that I was the one at fault. I was fat not because of society or not because of my own genetics. Yes, they mattered too, and yes, society was shit and they treated fat people as shit. They still do. But I was fat because I engulfed things. I needed that dopamine rush. I associated food with happiness. So I rewarded myself constantly with shitty, crappy food, and just engulfed them and just swallowed it down my throat and constantly put it in my body. And I was killing myself, not only physically, but just emotionally in general. I was always self-conscious of my body. I could never go to the beach. I could never go to the beach and feel comfortable on that. I could never felt comfortable with a girl naked. I always felt weird. Even though I managed to go on through, I just felt weird. I felt terrible about myself. It was my fault. This was all my fault. And I realized that a lot of the people were in the same category. They had just found out they had fucked up. Or maybe they hadn't. And they just didn't know how to go through afterwards. We fucked up. We really did. And the thing is, at first I thought we had to change society. But in the end, you cannot change society. We cannot make those assholes become less assholish. The world is like that. There's a biological reason people are more attracted to fit people. It just is. No matter how much fat acceptance, no matter how many groups you have, people will be superficial, even if they don't want to be. And we cannot blame it all on others. We have to assume responsibility. You have to assume responsibility of this. You have to assume responsibility of your own weight, of your own body. Unless you have some sort of big genetic disorder like thyroids or something, you are responsible of what you eat. You are responsible. You're at fault. And with that, I said, okay, so there's only a 5% chance. Well, I'll try 1,000 times until I become part of that 5%. And there the greatest journey of my life started. And I started going to the gym, and I started dieting, and I tried every diet, everything. I went to a nutritionist, everything you could possibly muster, and I went back up and back down again. I lost about 30 kilos after a long fight of blood, sweat, and tears. I went down from 115 kilos. I think that's about 250 pounds in conversion. I'm not really sure. I went down to 80. And my goal was actually 77. Because, well, that was the normal weight according to my body for the World Health Organization. I went to the gym 3-4 times a week, sometimes even 5. Tried living a normal life, and I saw how things change. Things literally seemed different. People would just literally sit close to me. They wouldn't just change places anymore. They would start showing to be much more polite when I entered the room. They would literally just... girls would approach me, man. I mean, like, usually I was the one that had to approach, but now just girls started approaching me, and everyone seems so much more amicable. And even hell, in the first job interview I actually passed and stayed in the job was an interview when I was more thin, and I remember it being so much different than when I wasn't. Like, if you've never been a fat people, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm really serious. This is something you see all the time, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys that are actually fat, like me, are actually in that situation. And I was so confident in this, but the statistics were against me. And I started eating back up, and I regained a lot of fucking weight. And here I am, back again. Statistics are against me. Lost pretty much all my progress. All the training I did. But I have to be honest with myself. I really have to. And I said that I'm not going to let myself be defeated, so I'm going to do the hardest thing I have ever done in front of a camera. Fuck it. This is my body. Yes, I'm a fat fuck. Yes, I have gained some muscle, yes, whatever. But I am quite a fat fuck. And yes, I'm going to show you now my weight. I have to be objective with myself. So, I don't know if you can see this. Let me check this out. Okay. That's my weight. That's 105. I'm literally 10 kilos away from when I started. Maybe I do have more muscle, probably. But that's where I am. That's the truth. That's subjective. I don't know how I'm going to upload this. I just feel so fucking ashamed. but I have to be brave. You know why? Because I understood through that journey that to have the willpower to actually do this is incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard. And I've decided that many of you guys were likely also on a journey very similar to mine. Maybe you started weighing more, or maybe you had less weight, or you did better, I don't know. But it's hard to do it alone. So I wanted to make this a collective journey. Since all the diets, all the fitness industry, gurus, all that crap, they're constantly trying to just make us stay in that cycle of losing weight and gaining weight. I wanted you to take a pledge with me. And maybe I could take a pledge with you. That we would try our fair best. That we would not rest until we actually manage to get into that 5% of people who actually manage to stay. That we would change our habits. That you are not cursed. You are not cursed. No matter how much society tells you so. That, yes, we cannot change society, but we can change ourselves. And pledge to be the better version of ourselves. The version that is what we want, what we deserve, what we try to get. That we take responsibility for our own actions. So please, if you are in this journey, if you are going through this, come with us. Come join here to the journey of the fat man. I please need you to tell me where you are right now, to be realistic, to tell me your objectives. Let's share it together. Let's build a network of support. A network to discern the bullshit from the facts. And to do the things we care about. To support each other. To not let anyone bring you down. Anyone. So just leave that in the comments. Tell me how much you weigh. How much you want to weigh. What are your goals? What are you trying to do? What hardships have you endured? I really would love to hear your story. And I will be sharing mine with you as well. I really hope to see you all soon. Welcome to the journey of Fat Man. Fight on.